Chapter 50. At this point, I do not let myself off without a psychology of faith of believers, precisely for the benefit of believers, as is fitting. If today there is no lack of people who do not know in what way it is indecent to believe, or a sign of decadence, of broken will to life, tomorrow they will already know it. My voice reaches even the hard of hearing. Unless I have heard wrong, it seems that among Christians there is a kind of criterion of truth that is called the proof of strength. Faith makes blessed, hence it is true. Here one might object first that it is precisely the making blessed which is not proved but merely promised. Blessedness tied to the condition of faith. One shall become blessed because one believes. Yes? But whether what the priest promises the believer in fact occurs in a beyond, which is not subject to any test, how is that proved? The alleged proof of strength is thus at bottom merely another faith, namely, that the effect one expects from faith will not fail to appear in a formula. I believe that faith makes blessed, consequently it is true. But with this we are already at the end. This consequently would be absurdity itself as the criterion of truth. But let us suppose, with some leniency, that it was proved that faith makes blessed, not merely desired, not merely promised by the somewhat suspicious mouth of a priest. Would blessedness, or more technically speaking, pleasure, ever be a proof of truth? This is so far from the case that it almost furnishes a counterproof. In any event, the greatest suspicion of a truth should arise when feelings of pleasure enter the discussion of the equation. What is true? The proof of pleasure is a proof of pleasure, nothing else. How in all the world could it be established that true judgments should give greater delight than false ones, and according to a pre-established harmony should necessarily be followed by agreeable feelings? The experiences of all severe, of all profoundly inclined spirits, teaches the opposite. At every step, one has to wrestle for truth. One has had to surrender for it almost everything to which the heart, to which our love, our trust in life cling otherwise. That requires greatness of soul. The service of truth is the hardest service. What does it mean, after all, to have integrity in matters of the spirit? That one is severe against one's heart, that one despises beautiful sentiments, that one makes of every yes and no a matter of conscience. Faith makes blessed. Consequently, it lies. Chapter 51. That faith makes blessed under certain circumstances, that blessedness does not make of a fixed idea a true idea, that faith moves no mountains, but puts mountains where there are none. A quick walk through a madhouse enlightens one sufficiently about this. Not, to be sure, a priest, for he denies instinctively that sickness is sickness, that madhouse is madhouse. Christianity needs sickness, just as Greek culture needs a superabundance of health. To make sick is the true secret purpose of the whole system of redemptive procedures constructed by the Church. And the Church itself, is it not the Catholic madhouse as the ultimate ideal? The earth altogether is a madhouse. The religious man, as the Church wants him, is a typical decadent. The moment when a religious crisis overcomes a people, the religious man, as the Church wants him, is a typical decadent. The moment when a religious crisis overcomes, a people is invariably marked by epidemics of the nerves. The inner world of the religious man looks exactly like the inner world of the overexcited and the exhausted. The highest states that Christianity has hung over mankind as the value of all values are epileptoid forms. Only madmen or great impostors have been pronounced holy by the Church in Maiorum Dei Honorum. I once permitted myself to designate the whole Christian repentance and redemption training, which today is best studied in England, as a methodically produced folie circulaire, as is proper, on soil prepared for it. That is to say, thoroughly morbid soil. Nobody is free to become a Christian. One is not converted to Christianity. One has to be sick enough for it. We others who have the courage to be healthy and also to despise, how may we despise a religion which taught men to misunderstand the body, which does not want to get rid of superstitious belief in souls, which turns insufficient nourishment into something meritorious, which fights health as a kind of enemy, devil, temptation, which fancies that one can carry around a perfect soul in a cadaver of a body, and which therefore found it necessary to concoct a new conception of perfection, a pale, sickly, idiotic, enthusiastic character so-called holiness. Holiness, merely a series of symptoms of an impoverished, unnerved, incurably corrupted body. The Christian movement, as a European movement, has been from the start a collective movement of the dross and refuse elements of every kind. These want to get power through Christianity. It does not express the decline of a race. It is an aggregate of forms of decadence flocking together and seeking each other out from everywhere. It is not, as is supposed, the corruption of antiquity itself, of noble antiquity, that made Christianity possible. The scholarly idiocy which upholds such ideas even today cannot be contradicted harshly enough. At the very time when the sick, corrupt Chandala strata in the whole imperium adopted Christianity, the opposite type, nobility, was present in its most beautiful and most mature form. The great number became master. The democratism of the Christian instincts triumphed. Christianity was not national, not a function of a race. It turned to every kind of man who was disinherited by life. It had its allies everywhere. At the bottom of Christianity is the rancor of the sick, instinct directed against the healthy, against health itself. Everything that has turned out well, everything that is proud and prankish, beauty above all, hurts its ears and eyes. Once more I recall the inestimable words of Paul. The weak things of the world, the foolish things of the world, the base and despised things of the world hath God chosen. This was the formula. In hoc signo decadence triumphed. God on the cross. Are the horrible secret thoughts behind this symbol not understood yet? All that suffers, all that is nailed to the cross is divine. All of us are nailed to the cross. Consequently, we are divine. We alone are divine. Christianity was a victory. A nobler outlook perished of it. Christianity has been the greatest misfortune of mankind so far.